Mast foot pressure is a bad thing. I know, everyone you hear about says you've got to do mast foot pressure for this, you've got to do it for that. Bullshit! And I'm sorry, I've not sworn on this channel before, but I feel like this is the time for it. Mast foot pressure makes no sense at all. It's a bad thing. Stay with me, give me a chance to explain myself, and it all will become clear. Now then, to elaborate a little bit, it's not the act of channeling the power down through the bottom of the mast foot, to accelerate the board or to drive power that's a bad thing. It's the term, it's the word mast foot pressure. That terminology was sort of used, or well, it was definitely used a lot 10 to 20 or more years ago with windsurfing and its progression. But modern windsurfing coaches and myself as a trainer of instructors, I teach instructors how to teach. The term mast foot pressure is a swear word that we ban of using with our students. And the reason for it is it's really, really confusing for the students. Possibly for you guys, whether you're an instructor or you're a student just now, or maybe a little bit of both. What does it mean? Well, there's 3 occasions I can think of that we might use the term mast foot pressure, but shouldn't, bear with me. Getting planing. Getting the board to accelerate, channeling the power from here down through the mast to accelerate. Yes, it's needed. The term mast foot pressure is not. Water starting or beach starting. To control the to control the board in its direction, pointing upwind or downwind, you could use the term mast foot pressure, but don't, because it's not the same as trying to get planing. It's a completely different way of getting the power from here through the bottom of the mast and in. Yes, it compresses the mast foot, the little ligament rubber joint, but it's not the same action. So when you're telling someone, mast foot pressure to get planing, and they're like, wait a minute ago you were telling me mast foot pressure to water start. It's not the same thing at all. And the other one is midway through a jibe. As I come round, I need to be pulling ever so slightly down through that boom, creating mast foot pressure. But that's another different way of using that term, which is a different way again. It doesn't make any sense. So, those 3 examples we just had, getting planing, beach start and water start, and midway through a jibe, we need to find a different way that makes, let's say, understandable sense to our students or to our own mind about what this idea is all about. Now, those of you that have stuck with this channel for a while will know that I've sworn about this. No, I didn't swear. This was the first time I swore on the channel. Apologies, anyone younger watching this. But I said the term mast foot pressure and quickly went, don't get me started because I'm going to have a rant. This is the rant. If you're new to the channel, by the way, do hit subscribe. There's lots of other, let's say, more traditional teaching and coaching videos on the channel, running through maneuvers and getting planing. And I'll start with that, I think. To get planing, as I slow down just now out of the foot straps, we need to get the power from the sail down through the mast and into the board. Cool. Understood. Agreed. The way we're going to do that is by getting the sail back. We're going to get the sail down a little bit lower. And as I do that, whether I'm in or out of the harness, I'm going to start to pull the sail in that little bit. Oops, I slipped just there. The sail is coming in, back and down to get the board to plane. Here we go. In, back and down. The board starts to accelerate. And I can step into the foot strap. Great. In, back and down. A different way, and I think a better way of explaining what mast foot pressure is, because this is where it goes wrong. Hang in here now. Right now, I have tons of mast foot pressure. The ligament at the bottom of the mast foot, or the UJ, is compressed. But I'm not going to go anywhere. I have tons of power in the sail, but I'm not going to accelerate. All the power is pushing down to create mast foot pressure. It's not pulling the sail in, back and down like now, to accelerate. Is your harness rising up by your chin? I've hooked in, I've created loads and loads of Mast Foot Pressure. It's not helping in the slightest. There is tons of power here. I can feel that the board wants to go, but it's just pinned onto the water because of Mast Foot Pressure. Lose that term. Shoot out a little bit to start with. We need to get in, back and down with the sail. I need to get this way in order to then drive the board to accelerate. There's the power. I'm in, back and down. My hips are low to the water and back. Now that power has been channeled correctly in the board and I'm nicely up and onto the plane. When it comes to the beach start and the water start, don't use that term. Think of it as pushing with one hand or pulling with the other hand, which would turn the board slightly upwind or slightly downwind. That is an understandable action that you can understand or your students can understand if you're an instructor watching this. By pushing down through my front hand, pulling in slightly with my back hand, just like I did there to steer away from the wind, your beach start or your water start would do the same. Pulling in slightly with your front hand and ever so slightly out with your back hand does the opposite and steers you upwind. Beach starting and water starting. Final example, I said when you might use the term Mast Foot Pressure, but please don't, would be midway through a jibe, when I'm trying to keep the trim of the board smooth, carving effectively and not just sticking the nose up in the air. But rather than thinking of just pulling down through the mast to create that pressure at the bottom, think of, can I get myself into a neutral, balanced position, much like, and I'll put a link in the top corner right now, how to master jibes without jibing. I'll do it just now. It's the wave riding, the flat water wave riding, where I'm neutral on top of the board. From there, you'll learn how to affect the trim of the board smoothly and effectively without just thinking, I'm midway through a jibe, therefore I must pull down. That creates Mast Foot Pressure. Probably that pulls the boom close to you, which would then sink the tail and make you fall off the back. So trying to create Mast Foot Pressure midway through a jibe, because that's what someone has told you once, isn't going to help your jibe. It's probably going to mess you up in a different way. To recap, I see the term Mast Foot Pressure as an instructor Tourette's. When we're not sure what else to say, we tend to just blurt out, Mast Foot Pressure! Mast Foot Pressure, that'll help you! Or actually there's something else going on. And by going back through that fast forward formula, vision, trim, balance, power, how to channel the forces of the rig, to accelerate the board and to control it, and then your stance will have much greater effect rather than just thinking, I need to get the mast foot squashed. I need to create Mast Foot Pressure, which actually, as you can see now, I have tons of Mast Foot Pressure. I'm not going to go anywhere. By actually releasing that pressure, I can then give the board a bit of a push forwards, channel the power efficiently, and I start to accelerate nicely. I hope that was a polite enough rant. Apologies again for swearing at the start. Let me know what you think. Does that clarify what people are talking about? What your instructors and coaches are screaming at you that doesn't make any sense? Or are you an instructor and you're like, that makes a lot of sense. The instructor team that I've got here up at the Cosmos on Vasiliki Beach, they know that if I hear that swear word, they're not going to be happy. We train the instructors not to use that term. Anyhow, like, subscribe. See you back on the channel very soon. Thanks very much. Okay.